What is wrong with you? Why won't you stop crying?
Hello and welcome. What you just heard is the sound of frustration. My name is Debbie Kitzelman. I've been a pediatric nurse for 22 years. I am board certified by the American Nurses Credentialing Council. I am current in pediatric advanced life support and neonatal resuscitation. I'd like to talk to you today about shaken baby syndrome. I will tell you what it is, why children are so susceptible to shaking, the mechanism of injury. I will talk to you about normal newborn crying patterns and ways to avoid frustration with a crying infant. Shaken baby syndrome occurs when a child is violently shaken by a much larger person. Much like this skull, this ball inside the skull, the brain will rattle around inside the head, causing bruising, bleeding, and damage. The retina at the back of the eye becomes sheared, causing bleeding, which will eventually result in blindness. Infants are so susceptible because the undeveloped neck muscles cannot hold the head steady. The violent shaking causes the chin to come into contact with the chest. The back of the head will come into contact with the upper back. Every day, as many as 4 children are shaken and injured. Up to 30% of these children will die from their injuries. Up to 80% will suffer permanent damage. In 1962, Dr. Barry Brazelton, a Harvard pediatrician, did studies on normal crying patterns among newborns. He had mothers maintain logs daily of their children's crying patterns. Based on this research, he came up with what is now known as the normal crying curve. In 1986, Dr. Ronald Garr from Montreal in Canada duplicated Dr. Brazelton's studies. Based on this and further research, he came up with the period of purple crying. This is an educational program aimed at parents, new parents, and healthcare providers. The National Council on Shaken Baby Syndrome has adopted this video as an assist to get the word out on shaken baby syndrome to prevent injuries and deaths. The period of purple crying, the P in purple stands for peak. Most of the crying begins at age 2 weeks, and by age 2 to 5 months has ended. The U is unexpected. The crying can occur at any time. The R is resist soothing. There is nothing you can do to prevent this child from crying. The P stands for pain like face. Your child may look like they're in pain, even though they are not. L is long lasting. Sometimes children will cry for as long as a day. E stands for evening. Most of the crying occurs in the late afternoon and early evening. Shaken baby syndrome is devastating. The perpetrators can be your family, your neighbors, your friends, your co-workers. Anyone is susceptible to frustration from a crying infant. There are various strategies you can use to prevent getting angry with your child. Main one, take a break. Walk away. Have your spouse, your friend, your neighbor come over. Go for a walk. Put on an exercise video. The main thing you need to remember is never ever pick up your child when you are angry or frustrated. Put them in a safe place and walk away. One parent who had shaken his child later said, "The baby just looked stunned and stared at me like he couldn't believe what I had done." Most people who shake their children do not mean to. It is that period of frustration when you don't know what else to do for your child, and it comes out as shaking. To recap, I have now told you what shaken baby syndrome is, why children are susceptible to injury, what a normal crying curve is for newborns, and strategies to prevent frustration. I challenge all of you to extend a hand to any family members or friends you know who have a new child in the house. For further information about shaken baby syndrome, you can go to the National Council on Shaken Baby Syndrome's website at www.don'tshake.org. You can go to the Infant Crying website at www.purplecrying.info, or Department of Health and Welfare have brochures that are available to the public. Again, my name is Debbie Kitzelman. Thank you for attending this presentation.